It's a Runewars Battlecast, the likes of which you've never seen. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Battlecast. In today's episode we have a Runewars Battlecast. It's been a while, but to be fair, the game has kind of stayed similar with the release of Star Wars Legion, but now that that's all wrapped up, we've got some new units on board, and so today's video is between the Uthuk and the Latari, and it's featuring the new expansions, the Spine Thresher expansion, the Flesh Ripper expansion, and the Berserker expansion. Now I'll just warn you, this battle report is crazy. There are more tokens than you can shake a stick at. There are some forgetting of upgrades. There is non-optimal use of new mechanics, as seen by the Uthuk, and emotional highs and lows, swings like you've never seen. So, if you're still here, I think you're really going to enjoy this battle report, and we'll go through it together. So first things first, we're going to talk about the lists. So coming in at 197 points is my list as the Uthuk, and I have a pretty fun list, I think. I didn't really know what I wanted to run, but I've got the Blood Berserker, a 6 group, and a Bloodfire Witch. So the Bloodfire Witch is basically, I can suffer a wound at the start of each round to re-roll any rune that has unstable runes not showing. So there's only 2, but if it's the other side, I can re-roll it in hopes to get unstable runes, or I can exhaust the card to re-roll any rune, I believe. Next I have the War Sprinter, and this is a very cool card. It basically gives all of your other units the ability to use a skill to move one forward. Now that's not crazy exciting per se, because a lot of these guys do have just a move 1 white on them, but it is amazing for these berserkers because if there's 4 unstable runes and you use the skill, these guys can move 7. They get a 3 and then they'll get a 4, which is crazy. I have the aggressive Shrieker so that my movements are charged, so I was planning on just getting in there. Next I have a 2 block of Flesh Rippers with Dead Sprint. I have a 2 block of Fresh Whippers with nothing. I have Ravos the Ever-Hungry, of course, with Viscera Goblet, so that's I can heal myself. And I have the Insatiable Hunger, which is really nice for, positioning for next turn. Love that upgrade card. I have the Spine Threshers with the Scuttling Horror that everyone's been talking about, and just a regular 1 of Spine Thresher. So that's my list, 197 points. For my opponent, he has 198 points, and he has Eliana with Ambush Predator, so she can't be targeted by ranged attacks, which has no use against my army. We have Malkorn's Bequest, which is the ability to recast runes that have nature on them. You don't have to suffer wounds for this one though, which is kind of nice, and ironically, one of the runes that is nature on one side is unstable runes on the other, so you can already see a bit of pre-round fighting going on here. Next we have a 6 block of Deepwood Archers who have Megan Cinderwind, who basically allows you to just go like full beast mode and explode everything around the target they're shooting. You've got the Wind Rune, of course, the Sport Amelin Scion, which allows you to put down some overgrowth runes or tokens, and then you can shift around if you're close to them. And Close Quarters Targeting, which just means that you ain't afraid of getting down and dirty. Normally if an archer gets caught, it's dead, but with this, I mean, you're good. Leonk's Rider, we got a 4 block with Raven Tabard's Metered March, and Moment of Inspiration. Secret, we don't remember it as Moment of Inspiration. Leonk's Rider, just a 2x1, and of course the 2/1 Scions with Vicious Roots. So pretty, somewhat standard, but definitely the Megan Cinderwind and Malkorn's Bequest are unusual, so very good. So here's just a beautifully painted Scion that my opponent did, which I love. Very good job. Okay, so for start off, I have less points, so I get to choose what I want to do. And I chose Up in Flames because I figure, I want to get unstable runes anyway. I can smoke them out. I move faster. So it made a lot of sense to me to do Up in Flames. So that's what I chose, and therefore he gets to choose the play area, and so he chooses the Careful Approach. And for our terrain, we have Graveyard, which gives panic tokens, the Rocky Outcrop, and the Stone Terrace Elevated. So here we are just placing our tokens. So I put one right in his zone, he puts one kind of by my zone. These aren't our deployments, this is just organizing the board. So this is his deployment. You know, you'll see I'm kind of coming at him from both angles. So he kind of deploys like half and half. And then that there is the shift between his, he gets to redeploy a Leonx. So he's like, okay, they're looking like they're coming from this side. So he switches them over. There's my unit. I guess I didn't really get a great shot of what I did to deploy, but you can kind of see him I've got 2 Flesh Rippers coming this way with Ravos. I have a Spine Thresher 2-block going through the gap, and then the Berserkers coming around the side. I think that's what happens. First round, we get 2 Unstables, 2 greens, and a blue, and we have that Unstable that hasn't been flipped. So I do suffer a wound to re-roll, and I fail. So, darn it. First Blood. Classic Uthuk, just killing their own people. This is Ravos' ability. Everybody gets a panic token. He's just so scary. So first off, he opens with a Scion, moving 2 forward and shielding behind the taxing terrain. Next he does a move 2 and a shift 1 with his Leonx, and I think he's hoping to, kind of get out of the way of his other Leonx there. I do a big ol' 3-1 move with my Spine Thresher up the gap, just narrowly escaping that spiked outcropping, or whatever it's called. Next up is his other Scion doing a speed 3 move, and he actually jumps the first Scion. It was actually pretty impressive. It's not often you see people jump. I think he jumps them. Either way, they're the 2 Scions. These guys do a reform move because I think initially in my head I thought about the Scuttling Horror upgrade and I just kind of forgot about it. But either way, I kind of line myself up, so I'm going to hit the spikes, but I'm going to Scuttling Horror and avoid it. It's very complex, man. As a Y-card player, I've never had these pre-movement shiftiness. It's too crazy. Here we have the Berserkers doing a speed 3 move, followed by a speed 2 move because of the War Cry or War Sprinter. Foggy Shot, we got ourselves a shifting reform from Eliana, so she's turning around. Almost looks misty in this kitchen, it's hilarious. Ravos is doing the speed 3, so he's kind of lining himself up for that gap there. It turned out pretty well, not bad. Here we have the speed 4, and so they do collide. I'm not sure exactly. He forgot about the Raven Tabard, that's what happened, yeah, so he... I think something went wrong, but anyway, he hits, so too bad. Here I am with my Flesh Rippers, and I shift 1, bump into them, and then I reform, but I think it's okay. I think that's where I want to be. Initially I was like, I'm not going to be able to clear these Spine Threshers, but of course you can pass over 1 tray. It's been a while since we played, so we're tad rusty. These guys go for the big move. They do the, I think they have these guys have the dead sprint on, so they do move 2 by a move 3 by a move 2. So they move forward quite a bit, and they're out of range of that fire rune, or the fire rather. So he does some shifty business. He does a shift 2 with a wind rune shift 1 reform, followed possibly by a shift because he's within range of the overgrowth. That's what I mean, this game, like, it's gonna melt your brain, seriously. It melted mine. This is the end of the round. Here we are. So, you can see I'm kind of splitting up. He's sort of trying to figure out what I'm up to. This is Ravos dishing out a wound token at the end of the round of the Flesh Rippers. Oops. This is Ravos doing a speed 2 turn because of his insatiable hunger. This is where I placed the fire token, or the spreading fire rather, and he placed his as well this way, thinking I'm going to come into the fire that way. Or I see what I did there, sorry. He rolled it to nature first, then I suffered the wound, rolled it back. Too many photos. And then he rolls it back with Malkorn's Bequest. Jesus, you bastard. And then I exhaust my card to try and get it back, and it doesn't work. Some meta games here, friends. Meta games. This is very confusing, but I'm scuttling, horroring, so I'm away from the spikes. So I wanted to get out of range of his archers there. I was in their firing arc, so I do my dead sprint, and I move as fast as possible. And then I do my move. So I'm out of their firing arc, and I may screw up something of his by getting up in his business earlier than he expects. So next up are his Leonks, and they end up, I think they shift 2 forward, or move 2 forward, shift 1 back, because they didn't want to be toe-to-toe with my Flesh Rippers that quickly. This is where he jumps his Scion over, so he goes 3 over the first Scion, which is pretty cool. It's not often we see, you know, you move through units. It's kind of a scary thing usually. Up next here, I have my 2 block of Spine Threshers, reform and move 1. So I actually, seeing how he's positioning, I'm moving now to support these Flesh Rippers because he's moving all the way. So yeah. Next he shoots and wind runes, so his shoot misses, and then he wind runes to reposition. I get a perfect move around with my Spine Thresher around this spiky outcropping, so he's looking pretty good over there. So this Scion who didn't make the jump, he does you can see the dial there. It's a 6-shot ranged attack. So he hits these guys with the Vicious Root, so he immobilizes them, and he, off of a panic token that he gets on his dice, you can see, he flips up gain 2 panic tokens, which is annoying, and then he reforms to face the other way. I have a speed 2 dial there. I should have done a speed 3. There you go, guys, that's it. Game's over. Messed up. Anyway, there you go. I'm supposed to do a speed 3, but I did a speed 2 by accident. Coming around the bend. So he moves forward and bonks into his Leonks there. And I believe he said that was intentional. I think he, right. If with his other Leonks he had done speed 2 forward and shifted, then these guys may have come into my Flesh Rippers, but it wouldn't have been a charge, it would have been a collide. And I think so he, with his first Leonks, decided to purposefully obstruct his second ones. Smart fella. These guys are just doing a shift reform because I don't think they were kind of positioned off wrong. So she does a speed 4 reform, so now she's kind of bonked into her archers and she's facing my oncoming force around the side there. Ravos moves 4 forward, and he's getting down and dirty. Everybody's shot, so he's feeling okay up there. And then I do his insatiable hunger at the end of the turn to turn, and then I dish out a wound to Eliana as a part of his craziness. So there's where he's putting the fire rune over here. So this is where the fire rune is going, and it's actually underneath the ass of his archers. You can see you can't see, it's underneath them. This is round 3, I count first. 2 nature, 2 blue. I suffer the wound to reroll and fail. Oh no. And when we're re-rolling, you might as well go for the one that's going to benefit him with the wind rune and stuff, so that was my thought. This is showing, I think, just the wound maybe on Ileana. I'm not sure. He's like, don't look at my dials, bro. Overarching shot. So you can see I'm kind of split, coming both ways. The Berserkers are kind of bringing up the rear there. So, to start with Ravos, I shield and I rally. And the reason I did this is because, you know, Ravos' damage can come just from him being alive and near you. But I was in some serious, you know, I couldn't outcharge Eliana because she charges at like a 2 or a 3 with a +1, so there's just no chance. So I shield up because I don't want to die. So the Scion actually goes at 3, and I can't remember if I could have beat Aliana in the charge here. We'll find out. Anyway, he charges in, hits for nothing, but then he gets a rising panic. Oh, it's so annoying. Hero Scion, and of course he does trigger Vicious Roots, so the immobilization token's on me. Next I activate my Flesh Rippers, and one interesting interaction that we found is that even though they have an immobilization token on them, the application of immobilization token happens when you reveal your command dial, and this move happens before I reveal my command dial. So I actually just move forward, bonk into them, get a panic token for bonking in, and then I reveal my token to have a hit. So I curse smash them. So I hit them for, well, I don't curse smash them, that's a lie. It's not a very good hit. I hit them for 1, 2, and so I hit him for 4 basically, plus the surge is 5, so that's enough to do kill 2 and put a wound on another. Not great, but no rerolls. But I do flip a panic token, and I actually give them a stun token, which is going to be really disruptive for my opponent. Here I have my guys just moving forward, doing a 3 and a 1 forward. This is confusing AF, but basically his archers are shooting at Ravos. They roll a hit, so that's 3 damage, so that's a wound. And then they roll a double surge, which for them, I believe, didn't trigger anything, but it could be a shift, I think, if they wanted to, as they naturally do. Sorry for the quality there. Yeah, so here they are doing their, I think it's a wind rune and their default double surge shift. So they kind of got the hell out of there and repositioned. I just do a 3 forward with my homie. I'm close. Now, this is one thing I was forgetting, and, you know, live and learn, but I should have been applying panic tokens on everybody near the Spine Threshers after all their activations. I mean, this would have equated to so many panic tokens that I forgot. But, you know, we kind of play a game like a card layed's a card played, and, you know, it's up to you to tell your opponent what you're doing, not them to tell you what you're doing. So I was forgetting. It's been a while. Here we are moving up with the Berserkers. There's a 3 turn. See, I should have done that right from the start. Little slow on these guys. Definitely should have been quicker on them. He does a ranged attack reform onto my Spine Threshers, I believe, and hits for nothing. So this was the annoying thing. He was going to shift 1 to get it away so his other guys could charge, but my stun token totally screwed him. He can only shift 1, and that's going to cost him. There they are. Bonk. Failed charge. Ooh. These guys doing their big move. Move, move, move. Up they go. So speed 1 for their own thing, then 3, then 2. Oh my god. So he does a late charge. So I couldn't have got the charge off. But this is where things get a little trickier. So she charges in. She doesn't have brutal, so she does 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a total of 1 wound. It's round 3, so she has lethal 3, so that's another wound. And then she has a default mortal strike, so that's 3 wounds. And then she flips up uncertainty and reforms me, which is very frustrating. Well done, though. Yeah. Oh, at the end of the round, I think this must be. Yeah. I dish out another wound token. So Ravos, he just kills people because he is who he is. Love him. What a guy. Now, just because of how the activations have happened, I haven't had a chance to use Viscera Goblet because it is before your activation, I believe. So I was at full health, and now I'm at effectively half health. Here I am placing the fire, or rather the fire is spreading, very thematic. And I don't think there were any unstable this turn, so that's why they didn't spread very far. Just default 1 and no one took damage from the fire, which I really would have liked if they had. Or maybe they did take. You can see that 2 figures are missing from his, so maybe he did take damage from the fire. Here he is placing his right by Ravos. End of round shot. The Latari are being forced into the corner. So before my activation, I use the Viscera Goblet, and I rally to get off all this stuff, and I shield. As I say, like, I'm going to kill his person at the end of this turn just by being near her, so I feel like I can hopefully afford to do this. Round 4, he counts first. We get 4 unstable. Now this is cool because I love unstable runes. Now it's looking awkward though, because Ravos is standing near the fire, and that's for sure a wound on him, so less good. So, man, this is annoying. So he attacks very quickly, and he rolls 3 panic tokens combined, and he pulls out Loss of Faith, so he can't do anything about it. But again, he hits for 2. 1 from his default Mortal Strike, and 1 for, I think, like his Surge conversion to hits or something like that. Anyway, it's 2. So Ravos right now has 5. This is very important because I kind of lose track of how much health he has because of how much health he has. It's like 7. It's kind of, yeah, it's a lot. I charge with a Spine Thresher, and I just go off on this Scion. Holy shit. What is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 damage. Boom! Gets an immobilization token, but what a hit. What a hit. I don't think I showed this. In fact, I know I didn't. But you can actually see my scuttling, or my Spine Threshers in the graveyard, and that's because I like Scuttling Horror shifted into the graveyard before this round started. I'm still learning what's going to be good with this one, but there I am moving out, or moving in. So Ravos gets a Viscera Goblet back because a unit near him died, which is great. Big move. I reform with my Berserkers and move 4 forward with the skill of the Unstable, and that is a very good ability. I like that a lot. Dope socks, bro. Same shenanigans here, These guys are going to be pooched, so I do the old shifty bonk in, get a panic token, come out with the attack, and I think that kills them. It kills them, yeah. Very, very, sorry, blurry shot here. But the Scion goes off on his charge to basically get out of the way of the Spine Threshers. So then the Spine Threshers do a charge out. We were kind of confused here. I wasn't sure if I get a panic token for failing a charge out of terrain, or can I even charge out of terrain? Could I have even charged him if he had stayed? So many questions. I don't think I could, because I don't think I can touch anyone when I exit. Therefore, can you charge out of terrain, or is it your secondary dial cancelled? I don't know. Anyway, there it is. Here we have Megan Sinduin, and this is where shit gets real awkward, man. It's so awkward. This whole time I've been like, I love unstable runes, they're so fun. But what you don't realize is that the unstable runes are actually buffing up Sinduin, because Megan Sinduin does damage in a range of unstable. So every time I get 4 unstable, hooray, I'm giving him range 4 to do this AoE blast, which is pretty deadly. And basically it's just a surge plus. So right now he hits Ravos for 3. Essentially 3 So there's a wrong dial. The wrong dial we're focusing on here. But you can actually see up above the archers to the right, there's their dial. So they have a programmed in surge. So it's essentially they're hitting Ravos for 3, and then they have 2 surges, so they're hitting everyone else for 2. So 1 to the Spine Thresher and 2 off the Berserkers, and 1 to this Spine Thresher down here. I mean, what a hit! That's 1, 2, 4 wounds to 4 different targets. Crazy. Very cool. Good ability. Next we have his Leonks, and because I've killed his because I killed his other unit, he charges in and smashes me. I only have 1 guy left with 1 health, and he pulls Uncertainty because they have Impact 2, and it's just a nightmare. But I've turned around, basically. Hooray! These guys do a shift reform, and I figure if I just get in combat, I can attack you next turn, so whatever. I just go and bonk into him, get a panic, immobilize. This is interesting here. So I use Ravos's insatiable hunger to move him away because he is reformed, and I run, and I actually get into a fairly good spot, and I'm far enough away from the ruins where I don't get hit. And this is where things are like looking fairly good. If Ravos lives and Aliana's dead, this might be the turning point. This is a fire rune, taking out 4 from my berserkers. Ow. He loses 4 from his archers, 2 from his Leonks. I think that guy just dies. Yeah. Yeah, so that fire mucked some people up. Yeah, that's where I place the fire token, so we can't retreat backwards. This is round 5, so I'm counting first. I re-roll, so I get unstable. But again, I mean, I want to get those berserkers in, that's why I'm doing this, so they can move a bunch. But at the same time, he also has this Cinderwind who's just blowing me up, so it's kind of a catch-22 here. A double-edged sword, if you will. So here I am reforming and skilling into these archers. Now this is a huge mistake here, a huge mistake. I forgot that I had aggressive Shrieker, so I could have gotten attack on him with threat 3, and that definitely would have hurt. I mean, this would have been, you know, at least some good damage. I had a partial reroll. Yeah, that would have been good. Forgot though, so I just take a panic token like an idiot. Idiot! This guy, oh, I guess this guy was alive, but he moves and he's dead. He's dead. This guy attacks and they crush that Scion. They get 4 damage and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 from the surges, 10 from the surges. Crazy damage off these Flesh Rippers if they get lucky. I do a 3-2 into these Leonks just to hold them up, and I get a panic token as a result. Look at all these panic tokens, man, it's ridiculous. Also, I was not putting panic tokens on the end of the activation from these Spine Threshers. Ugh, I won't forget again. This is Megan Cinderwind. It's trouble. So she shoots. And oh, this was so annoying. So Ravos, his line of sight is blocked because of the Berserkers. And I'm holding off on doing anything with him because my plan was to come back round and mess some people up. I can't remember how exactly I was going to do it. I think on him I had programmed maybe like a reform. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, because of Megan Cinderwind's range and rolling a double surge, and Ravos hasn't shielded, and I guess I had 1 health left. I thought I had more. He actually kills Ravos with the range 4 from the Berserker unit. And this is where the game just starts to go horribly wrong. Because if I had with Ravos just simply done, you know, a move and a move to get out of range, That's like 60 points that would have been safe from the game, and what a nightmare. So good noticing from my opponent and just praying I didn't notice. So anyway, he hits my Berserkers for 6. He hits my second Thresher for 1 wound for sure, maybe 2. Oh no, it's a double surge. Hits him for 1 wound, hits my other Special for 1 wound, and kills Ravos all in 1 attack. Crazy. And if I had hit these guys with my Berserker unit, with my Aggressive Shrieker, things may have been different, but oh boy. So I reform, move up. I forgot I had an immobilization token on, I think. I'm just getting rattled at this point. This happened, seriously. It's been such a crazy taxing game, trying to figure out how to do these stupid photos, because like there's so many tokens on the board. Oh boy, I remember being melted. I think this is end of the round. So we're dishing out the fire wounds here. So these Spine Threshers just get... Oh, his Leonks there, actually, pardon me. They do a shift 1 back, and they reform. So now they're in prime position to charge. Look at these panic tokens everywhere. Look at these fire runes, or the growing fire. Oh my god. These guys suffer 2 wounds from the fire. The other guys, I think, might be out of range. I'm not sure. You can see my Berserkers are losing 4. I just put 2 wounds on the defensive Scion. Yikes. Oh yeah, he shifted out of range of the fire, which is smart. Placing the fire, the spreading fire. He puts his right in the middle by my Berserkers. It's round 6. He counts first. 2 unstable. So he charges my Thresher, and so annoying, but he hits for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, which is enough to almost kill them both. One guy has 1 health left, but then he gets a Flea and Terror off of all the stupid morale tokens. So off I go. This guy just rallies and moves forward. What can you do? This guy had a beastly attack, expecting the charge, but does nothing. These guys shoot my Berserkers and basically just kill everything around them, which sucks. Actually, my Berserkers get a last stand attack off, and they actually get a Flee and Terror on the Archers, so they can't shoot, because they're attacking at initiative 4 and Archers shoot at 5, so some good luck comes my way. They shoot, miss, they do a stupid Wind Rune, and now they're back in action. These guys shift reform to try and get a flank charge on these Leonks. This guy just dies from the fire runes. It's round 7, I count first. 2 blue and a green. I re-roll to get 2 red. I'm not sure why. I just think, what the hell. End of the round, things are looking greatly different. He has his... you can see he took damage from the fire, but he's got a 3 wide of Archers, some Leonks, and I'm just like scattered forces here. So I call it a game because I can't get him with the Berserker. My Spine Thresher is going to die from the fire, and my Flesh Rippers, it's possible that they could have, you know, maybe done some stuff, but hard to say. So I called it there. Definitely some big mistakes from me. Ravos getting killed because of the unstable runes from Megan Sinduin. There's so many things to think about. It's so crazy. Not charging with my aggressive Shrieker that one time, that would have been crucial. Learning how to use Scuttling Horror better, still learning about that one. Putting the panic tokens down from your Spine Threshers, it's so important. Gah! And yeah, great game for my opponent though. For a second it looked like he was going to lose, then things just went spiraling out of control. When you're manipulating runes, remember, your opponent might be benefiting from what you're manipulating him to. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed that battle report. It was crazy. It was a brain melter.
Game Nexus.
This video was created with the help of the Game Nexus, a group of people who help content creators reach their goals as well as host their content. Their link is in the description below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please consider supporting the channel by liking the video, leaving a comment below, or even subscribing to the channel. until next video, I'll see you then. Thank you.